Hi friends, I'm Ivy. Welcome to Animal Flow Yoga. This dynamic movement modality mirrors primal movements like crawling and squatting and quadrupedal movements, which is a really fancy word for being on all fours. This sequence is mixed together with Vinyasa Yoga, which is focused on gaining strength and flexibility. So when you're ready to begin, we'll start in a kneeling position. You can keep your feet flat on the mat for this round. We're going to start with some neck circles in one direction, just creating a big circle all the way around. Good, go the other direction. Let's take our right arm and place it behind our back. The back of our hand is on our low back. And then we're gonna lean our head away from that arm. So leaning to the left, just feeling a nice stretch along the front of the arm, all the way up into the base of the skull. Start to deepen your breath here, inhaling together. Exhaling, releasing any tension you're feeling in this stretch. Good, come back to center, switch sides. Left hand behind the back. Leaning away from that arm, leaning your head to the right, feeling the stretch along the front of the arm all the way up into the neck. Inhale together. Exhale, melt. Good, one more like that. Inhale together. Exhale. Good, release the arms. And then from here, we're gonna tuck our toes. We're gonna stay in this kneeling position, but we're just gonna come into a tucked toe position, taking a peek and making sure all of the toes are tucked under, including the pinky. We're gonna clasp our hands together and start doing some wrist circles, warming up into the wrist, while also getting some toe mobility here, some toe stretches. Good, go the other direction with these circles. Kind of creating like a figure 8 here with my hands. Beautiful, release the hands, shake out the wrist. Magnetic wrist, so we're gonna place our wrists together, the base of our palms. We're gonna reach forward, rotating down and around. The back of the hands meet, bringing the hands under, up and around. As I splay my fingers out at the top, reaching out and under. Pretending that my wrists have magnetic bracelets on them. As I rotate around, your wrist should be touching in all areas. Good, one more rotation out. And then switch directions. We're circling in this time. Again, keeping the wrist nice and connected through the whole rotation as we splay our fingers wide at the top. Good, shake out the hands. And then let's do wrist circles individually. The fingers are spread wide and I'm just creating big circles. Go the other direction. Beautiful. Lean forward, come into all fours. Tap the tops of the feet on the mat. Good, and then let's turn our fingertips towards our knees here. And then we're just gonna rock back and forth, feeling a nice stretch in the forearm. Fingers are spread wide on the mat, facing towards your knees. We're just leaning back and forth. The arms are straight the whole time. Good, release the hand, turn the fingers forward. Now we're gonna squeeze the mat until your fingers tent up, and then we're gonna lean forward. We're just leaning over our wrist a couple of inches. And then pushing back. Good, leaning over the wrist line till till you find your edge, and then pushing back. And I'm squeezing the mat the whole time. My fingers should be tented up. As I'm rocking back and forth, I'm just leaning over the wrist line and then coming back to neutral. Good, 3 more. Super important to warm up the wrist here, as we'll be on our hands for most of the class. Good, 1 more rock forward and back. Sit back on your heels, gently shake out your wrist. Beautiful, come back to tabletop position. Twist open, reaching your right arm towards the sky. Then reach towards the back of your mat, creating a big circle, down and around, reaching forward, and then back up. Good. Keep going, creating 3 big circles. Slow and steady as you twist open, reaching all the way back and forward. Good. Release the hand, lift the left hand up, twist open, reach towards the back of the mat, circle it down and around towards the front, twisting back, open up. Good, 2 more big circles like this. Good, place the hand back to the mat. We're gonna tuck the toes and we're gonna lift our knees 1 inch off the ground. This pose is called beast pose. From here, we're just gonna start to rock from side to side, holding the same position here. Nice and steady, side to side. Good, come back to neutral position, and then we're gonna lift the left foot and the right hand, just 1 inch off the ground, holding. Good, placing back to the mat. Other side, lifting the right foot and the left hand 1 inch off the mat. Good, hold. Good, and place back to the mat. Other side again, lifting opposite sides. Back to the mat. 1 more side with the right foot, left hand, lifting 1 inch off the ground, hovering, and then placing back to the mat. Send the hips high to downward facing dog. Start to pedal out the legs. Good, coming to a neutral position here, really extending through the arms, softening the chest towards the top of the thighs. Your heels are drawing down towards the mat. Now listen up. From here, I'm going to bend my knees, send them out wide, and sit back towards my heels. Good, my arms are still reaching forward, they're straight. This is called loaded beast. From here, we're gonna send our hips back up to downward facing dog, but this time we're gonna take our right knee, squeezing it in. Knee to nose, squeezing in, and then I'm rotating forward. The right knee taps the outside of the right wrist, hold, gaze goes forward. Good, keeping the knee bent, send it back to a bent knee, 3-legged dog. Place the right foot back down to loaded beast, knees go wide. Good, left side. As you send your hips up, your left foot squeezes in. Rotating forward, knee to nose. Shifting over your wrist line. The left knee taps to the outside of the left elbow. Hold, gaze goes forward. Keeping the knee bent, we send it back to 3-legged dog. Release the foot, come back to loaded beast. Slowly as we come up, bringing the right foot in, rotating forward. The right knee to the outside of the right wrist. Hold, gazes forward. Good, send the hips back up high. Set the foot back down to loaded beast. Left leg rises, squeeze the heel into the glute. Rotate forward, knee to nose. Knee taps to the outside of the left elbow. Gaze goes forward. Good, send the hips back high. Back down to loaded beast. Good, 1 more on each side. Slowly as we come up. Bringing the right foot in, rotating forward. The right knee to the outside of the right wrist. Hold, gazes forward. Good, send the hips back up high. Set the foot back down to loaded beast. Left leg rises, squeeze the heel into the glute. Rotate forward, knee to nose. Knee taps to the outside of the left elbow. Gaze goes forward. Good, send the hips back high. Send the hips back down to loaded beast. Holding this here for a few more moments. Knees are lifted 1 inch off the ground. Good, now rest the knees on the ground. Walk your hands forward. Puppy pose, sinking your chest and your forehead to the mat. Beautiful, release this pose. Walk the hands back to tabletop position. Tuck the toes, send the hips to downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the right leg to the sky. Bend the knee, stack the hip open. Continue this motion, dropping the right foot behind you, like a flip dog or wild thing. And then sit your hips low. Your hand comes into your heart center, fingers splayed out wide. Good, rotate up and around to plank pose. Slowly lower down, squeezing the elbows in all the way to the stomach. Once you're here, untuck the toes, send the arms back, lift the legs, lift the chest for Superman or locust pose. Holding here. Good, release the hands, send the hips up to downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the left leg to the sky. Bend the knees, stack the hip open. Continue this motion, flipping the dog to a wild thing, and then sitting the hips low. The hand comes to the chest. Right arm is straight. Good, rotating back around to plank pose. Slowly lower down, chaturanga all the way. Inhale, locust pose. Exhale, plant the hands, send the hips back to downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg lifts. Bend the knee, stack the hip open. Drop the right foot behind you. Sit the hips low, hand comes to heart center. Good, reaching up and around, sending the hips high, coming back to plank pose. Chaturanga, slowly lower down all the way. Inhale, locust pose. Feet are lifted, arms are lifted, gaze is forward. Plant the hands, send the hips back to downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. Bend the knee, stack the hip open. Continue the rotation all the way around. Sitting the hips low, the right arm is straight, left hand is to the heart center. Good, sending the hips high, reaching up and around, back to plank pose. Squeezing the elbows in, shifting forward, chaturanga all the way down. Inhale, Superman or locust pose, lifting the legs, lifting the arms. Exhale, plant the hands, send the hips back to downward facing dog. One more time on each side. Inhale, right leg lifts. Bend the knee, stack the hip open. Drop the right foot behind you. Sit the hips low, hand comes to heart center. Good, reaching up and around, sending the hips high, coming back to plank pose. Chaturanga, slowly lower down all the way. Inhale, locust pose. Feet are lifted, arms are lifted, gaze is forward. Plant the hands, send the hips back to downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. Bend the knee, stack the hip open. Continue the rotation all the way around. Sitting the hips low, the right arm is straight, left hand is to the heart center. Good, sending the hips high, reaching up and around, back to plank pose. Squeezing the elbows in, shifting forward, chaturanga all the way down. Inhale, Superman or locust pose, lifting the legs, lifting the arms. Beautiful. Place your hands like a little pillow and let your forehead rest on the mat. Bend the knees and windshield wiper the legs from left to right. Good, release the legs. Send the left arm out to the left, straight. Peeling the right heel and the right hip up and over. Beautiful, release back to center, switch sides. The right arm goes out to the right. Peel the left foot and the left hip up and over. Resting the head to the mat. Beautiful, come back to center. Push back to all fours. Your knees are stacked under your hips, your wrists are under your shoulders. Tucking the toes back to beast pose, lift the knees 1 inch off the ground. From here, we're gonna start to twist our knees to the left side, opening up the left hand. The back of the palm is towards the cheek. Fingers are spread wide. Good, place the left hand back to the mat. Rotate to the right, lifting the right arm up. The back of the hand by the right cheek. Good, back through center. Left side, hand comes up. Back through center, right side, right hand comes up. Back through center, left side. From here, we're just gonna pause for a second. Keep everything as it is. You're just gonna send the leg out in front of you, pointing the toe. The inside of the leg is facing up towards the ceiling. Good, bring it back in, place the hand back down, twisting open. Hand comes up to the cheek. Good, keeping everything as it is here, just extending the foot out to the side. Good, back through center. Keep this rotation going. Sending the leg out long. The elbow is winged open. We're just moving from left to right here. Finding your speed, your pace. Maybe you want to go a little faster here. Just make sure you're able to maintain these postures, these positions as you rotate around. Good, keep going, you got this. Rotating from left to right. Option to add a little bit of a hop into it as you rotate from left to right. Good, 2 more on each side, you got this. Keep going. Good, come back to center. Lower the knees to the mat. Come into a child's pose. Good, walk the hands back up to a kneeling position. Plant the left hand behind you. Lift your hips up, lift your arm, reaching up and back. Good, sit the hips back down, reach the right hand planted behind you, lift the left arm, lift the hips up, reaching up and back. Good, coming back down through center, wave the arm around, making it a fluid motion, lifting back up to the right side. Good, waving the hand around, coming back up. Good, 1 more on each side, waving down and around, making this a nice fluid motion. Beautiful, sit the hips back. From here, let's sit on our booty, send our feet in front of us, our hands behind us. Our fingers are pointing away here. Our feet are about a little wider than hip width distance. And again, our shoulders are back, lifting our chest, lifting our gaze. From here, we're gonna send our hips up 1 inch off the ground. This pose is called crab. Again, our chest is lifted, our shoulders are drawing back. Just getting really solid in this pose here. And we're gonna start to move forward and backwards, opposite foot, opposite hand. So I'm lifting my right foot and my left hand, and I'm moving forward towards the top of the mat. Other side. Lifting and lowering the foot and the palm at the same time. Good, when we reach forward, we're gonna start to go backwards. Again, opposite foot, opposite hand. Really slow and controlled, keeping the shoulders back here. Beautiful, when we reach the back of the mat, we're gonna go forward 1 more time. Good, last time when we reach the front, we're going backwards. Just nice crab walks, opposite foot, opposite hand. Again, the shoulders are back, the chest is lifted, the hips are lower, 1 inch off the ground. Good, when you get to the back of the mat, just come to rest here, shake out the arms, to a cross-legged position, reaching the arms up, placing the left hand on between our shoulder blades and using the other hand to draw it down our back. Good, inhale the arms up, switch sides. The right hand goes in between the shoulder blades. My left hand is drawing my elbow down towards the stretch. Good, release this pose. Uncross the legs and come into a yogi squat position. Walking the feet out a little bit wide. Just settling into your squat. Hands to heart center. The elbows assist the knees to open a little wider. Just pausing here for a moment. From here, reach the hands forward. The back of the palms meet. You're going to tuck your chin into your chest. Squeeze your knees into your outside of your arms, squeezing everything to the midline. And then we're going to open up, lifting out of the heels, the palms face towards the sky. You're lifting your chest, holding here. Good, back down through center, squeezing everything to the midline. The back of the hands meet. The chin tucks in. Good, inhale, open up, reaching up, lifting off the heels. Palms face the sky, your chest is lifted. And back down through center, reaching everything forward. Good, inhale, reaching up, lifting up. Exhale, back down through center. Good, one more. Inhale, reaching up, lifting off the heels. Knees go wide. Exhale, down through center, squeeze everything in. Let's move to the side of our mat here. We're still in a squat position. We're gonna do some ape crawls now. So I'm gonna send my hands to the center, shifting the weight into my arms. I'm gonna hop my feet over to the other side, coming back to a squat. Good, again, to the left, planting the hands toward the center of the mat, shifting my weight into my hands, and then hopping my legs over to the other side. Coming back all the way to a squat. Good, just like that. So we come over to the right, and back to the left. Making these ape crawls really fluid. Option to add a float or handstand if this is in your practice. Good, keep going, you got this. I know my legs are burning right now. Come back through center. To the left. Sending the hips up over to the right. Let the hands shift the weight over to the left. Back to the right. Maybe you go a little bit faster here. Good. 2 more. You got this. Beautiful rest position here. Come down to your knees. Come into a child's pose. Shift your weight forward to a tabletop position. Tuck your toes and your hips to downward facing dog. Holding here, resting in this pose. Inhale, lift your right leg to the sky. Bend the knee, stack the hip open. Wild thing. Drop the right foot behind you. Lift the hips. Reach towards the front of the mat. Send the right leg back up for 3-legged dog. Sweep it around for lizard lunge, stepping to the outside of the right hand. Option to lower the knee to the mat here, or keep it lifted. From here, we're gonna twist open, same position with the arm, winging the elbow open. The back of the hand is towards the cheek. Good, listen up from here. I'm just gonna rotate to Skandasana. So the left leg is straight, bending into the right knee. Finding a Skandasana position, my toes are flexed. Good, plant the hands, send the hips back up to downward facing dog. Inhale, the left leg lifts. Bend the knees, stack the hip open. Let it drop behind you for wild thing. Lifting the hips up and around, reaching towards the front of the mat. Good, returning to three-legged dog, lifting the left leg. Exhale, sweep it to the outside of the left hand, planting for lizard lunge. Option to keep the knee lifted off the mat or lower it. Now twisting open to the left, winging the elbow out. The back of the hand is facing towards the cheek. Again, then we're gonna rotate back towards the side, Skandasana. Left leg is bent, right leg is long. Good, planting the hands back towards the center, sending the hips up to downward facing dog. Inhale, the right leg lifts. Exhale, step to lizard lunge, sending the hips forward. Back knee is lifted this time. Good, send the hips back to downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. Lizard lunge on the left side. Back knee is still lifted. Good, back to downward facing dog. Inhale, the right leg lifts. Step to lizard lunge on the right side. Good, back to downward facing dog. Left leg lifts, lizard lunge. Good, back to downward facing dog. From here, we're gonna go back to loaded beast. So I'm sitting the hips back, the knees are lifted 1 inch off the ground. Good, ripple the spine forward, stepping to the outside of the right foot. Good, and then back to loaded beast. Stepping the left foot to the outside of the left hand, and back to loaded beast. Good, we're just working through this motion here, back and forth. Back to loaded beast, to a lizard lunge. Next time you come to the right side, the right hand is gonna lift forward, and you're gonna breathe out. Back to loaded beast. Breathe out, left side. Back to loaded beast, right side. Palm forward, breathe out. Good, 2 more on each side, you got this. Send your hips back to downward facing dog. Pedal out your legs here. Beautiful, last little bit of push here. You got this. Let's do it together. We're gonna send our hips back like loaded beast. Then we're gonna hop forward to the outside of our right hands to a kind of a squat position. Just some nice little frog hops here. And then we're gonna shift our weight back to loaded beast. Hopping forward and back. Doing 10, we got this. Four, 3, 2, 1. Back to downward facing dog, good. Whew. Taking a moment to catch your breath here. Good. Walk your feet all the way up. Come into a sitting position. Soles of your feet together, butterfly pose. Start to fold over your feet here. Letting the head hang heavy. Good, release this pose and start to roll towards your back. We're gonna figure four the right leg over the left thigh, flexing the feet here. Interlacing your fingers through your legs, grabbing the back of your left thigh, and pulling your leg in towards you. Again, making sure the right foot is flexed here to protect the knee. Options to send the left leg to the sky for stretch in the back of the left leg. Good, plant the left foot. We're gonna come into a figure four bridge pose. So I'm sending the hips up. The right knee is reaching towards the mat, opening up the hip. The foot is still flexed here. Good, lower the hips all the way to the ground. Supine twist over to the left. The right foot plants to the mat. Right shoulder is planted, maybe your gaze goes to the right. Option to gently pull the right knee into your chest a little bit more. Beautiful, release back to the center. Switch sides, figure four. Left foot flexed over your right thigh. Grabbing the back of your right thigh and pulling it into your chest. I'm using my left forearm to send the knee opening wider. Option to send the right foot towards the sky for hamstring stretch. Good, plant the right foot to the mat. Figure four bridge pose. I'm sending the hips up high. The left knee is reaching towards the mat. My foot is still flexed here. Good, releasing back to the mat. Supine twist, send the left foot to the mat, twisting to the right. Arm goes long, maybe your gaze goes over your left shoulder. Option to pull the left knee into your chest a little bit deeper. Beautiful, release, coming back through center. Happy baby. Reaching for the outsides, the pinky toe side edge of your foot and drawing your knees towards the mat, rocking from side to side. Trying to keep your back very flat here. So I'm reaching my sacrum towards the ground still as I draw my knees towards the mat. Good, a few more breaths here. Beautiful. Bring the knees together, squeeze into your chest. Squeeze your head into your knees. Give yourself a big hug. Good, and now release everything to the mat. Splay the feet open. Palms are facing up, setting up for a Shavasana pose. Wiggling the feet, wiggling the shoulders, getting out any last minute jiggles or movement. Coming into stillness, getting heavy into the mat, relaxing into this pose to Shavasana. We'll start to wiggle the fingers and the toes. Gently bend the knees. Place the soles of the feet back to the mat. Rotating to one side to a fetal position. Good, pushing back up to a sitting pose. Coming to a cross-legged seated position. Bring your hands to heart center. Bowing your head. Thanking yourself for showing up onto the mat today. Thank you for practicing with me. Namaste. Thanks so much for practicing with me today. If you enjoyed this flow, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. See you in the next class. Whew.